I never imagined that the person I trusted the most in this world could betray me in such a devastating way. The one I laughed with, cried with, shared every little secret with, my best friend, chose him over me. And in that instant, everything I believed about loyalty, love, and friendship was shattered. I remember the first day we met, in a moment so ordinary that I would never have guessed it could lead to this heartbreak. She smiled, I smiled, and a bond formed so effortlessly that it felt like destiny had designed it. We became inseparable almost overnight. I shared my dreams with her, my fears, my embarrassing little quirks, every hidden corner of my soul. And I thought, as I often told myself, that she would always be there, that no one could come between us. But slowly, life proved me wrong. The first signs were subtle, almost laughable at the time. She would laugh at his jokes a little longer than she laughed at mine. Her phone would buzz, and she would shield it from my sight. She started disappearing for hours, sometimes entire evenings, and when I asked where she had been, she smiled vaguely and said, "Oh, just out with some friends." I wanted to believe her. I wanted to trust her. I told myself it was nothing, just a phase, just a coincidence. I ignored the small, gnawing feeling in my chest that whispered, "Something is off." I was young, naive, and completely unprepared for the storm that was about to hit. Then one day, everything came crashing down. I was walking through the park we had often visited together, and I saw them, holding hands, laughing, smiling in that way that I had once believed was reserved only for me. My stomach turned, my heart froze, and a sense of panic washed over me like a tidal wave. I couldn't breathe. My mind reeled. How could she do this? How could someone I trusted with my entire heart betray me so completely? Every memory we had shared, every joke, every secret, every moment of closeness suddenly felt like a lie. It was as if the world had tilted on its axis and I was falling endlessly, unable to catch myself. I remember confronting her that day. I walked up to her, my hands shaking, my heart pounding so loudly it felt like it would burst out of my chest. "Why?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper, trembling with a mixture of fear and anger. And she looked at me, calm, almost serene, and said, with a tone that felt like ice cutting through my chest, "I like him more than I ever liked you." Those words are etched in my memory like a scar that refuses to fade. They pierced me, leaving a pain so sharp and deep that I wondered if I would ever feel whole again. My best friend, the person I had trusted with my entire being, had chosen someone else over me. The days that followed were a blur of anguish. I remember lying in my room, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep, unable to eat. Every corner of my mind replayed that moment over and over. I felt abandoned, invisible, and utterly foolish for having trusted her so completely. The betrayal didn't just hurt, it shook the very foundation of who I thought I was. I questioned myself endlessly. Was I not enough? Did I do something wrong? Could I have prevented it? The questions spiraled, each one stabbing sharper than the last. But even in the midst of that overwhelming pain, a tiny voice whispered that her choices were hers alone, and that my worth was not determined by anyone else. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, I began to reclaim myself. The first step was simply breathing, allowing myself to feel without judgment. I cried, I screamed, I allowed the flood of emotions to wash over me without restraint. Then I started small, going for walks, reading books, reconnecting with hobbies I had abandoned in the haze of friendship and trust. Each day I felt a little lighter, a little freer. And as I began to heal, clarity emerged. I realized that betrayal, as painful as it is, carries a lesson, Sometimes the people you love the most are not the ones who are meant to stay in your life, and their absence opens the door for personal growth and self-discovery. I want to pause here and reflect on that moment of choice, the moment where I could either let this heartbreak define me or rise above it. I chose to rise. It wasn't immediate and it wasn't easy. Some nights I would lie awake, haunted by memories of laughter, of closeness, of what once was. The ache was unbearable, yet with every tear shed, every sigh of release, I grew stronger. I learned to trust myself again, to listen to my intuition, and to understand that no one has the power to determine my self-worth but me. There were moments of temptation, too. I thought about confronting her again, demanding explanations, trying to salvage what I thought was irreplaceable. But each time I paused and asked myself, would that change anything? Would it heal the wound or just reopen it? The answer was always the same. Walking away was the only path to true healing. And so I did. I left behind not just a person, but a chapter of my life filled with love, laughter, and trust. And I stepped into the unknown, alone but empowered. In the weeks that followed, I began to rebuild my life piece by piece. I sought out friendships with people who valued honesty, loyalty, and respect. I pursued passions and dreams I had neglected while caught up in the web of betrayal. Each new experience, each new connection reminded me that life is vast, beautiful, and full of opportunities that exist beyond the pain of loss. And gradually, the heartbreak that had once consumed me became a source of strength, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, growth is possible. Looking back now, I understand something profound. Betrayal is not the end. It is a catalyst. It forces you to confront your own values, your boundaries, and your resilience. It teaches you to protect your heart, to cherish those who truly care, and to let go of those who do not. Pain, as heavy as it is in the moment, carries the seeds of empowerment, of wisdom, and of transformation. I learned that my happiness cannot depend on anyone else. It must be cultivated from within, nurtured with self-respect, self-love, and courage. Even today, when memories surface unexpectedly, I feel a pang of sadness, but it is tempered by strength. I am no longer the person who would crumble at betrayal. I am the person who rose from it, who turned heartbreak into clarity, who learned that walking away is sometimes the bravest and most powerful choice of all. And while I will always remember the pain, I also remember the lessons, the growth, and the freedom that followed. So I ask you, as I close this story, have you ever been betrayed by someone you loved, someone you trusted completely? It is a pain that feels like it will never end, but I promise you, healing is possible. Walking away does not signify weakness. It signifies courage. Choosing yourself does not signify selfishness. It signifies wisdom. And in that choice lies the power to reclaim your life, to redefine your worth, and to step into a future filled with hope, strength, and possibility. If you stay with me for the next story, I'll share how someone took heartbreak and transformed it into unstoppable power, proving that even the deepest betrayal can be the start of a journey towards empowerment. And perhaps by watching you, too, will find the courage to heal, to rise, and to reclaim your own heart.